Joanne will take it away.
Well, thanks, Sister Michele. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Front Row with the Faculty. This afternoon's conversation is going to be with Sister Michele Aronica, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to her. I serve as a Vice President and Chief Advancement Officer here at St. Joseph's College, and this is a real special forum, an opportunity for all of you, alumni, friends. We have people from very far away. I think, Sister, you're winning the prize to have a participant from Argentina joining the call. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to try to do the very best I can with an incredible experience and history with St. Joseph's College to introduce to you Sister Michele Aronica. She's a graduate of the college. She was part of that very first co-ed class. She's a professor of sociology. She served in that capacity as chair for 24 years. She's responsible for the development of the criminal justice major and minor, both on campus and online, and the focus of the concentration in social work as well. She worked with that social work program director to develop all sorts of materials, manuals, handbooks that would interface with the campus academic committees. And they have all proven to serve as the major in social work that we have today that was approved by the Faculty Senate. She has served extensively on many college committees to further develop the student academic life. And she's worked with our lovely and famous Sister Sylvia Comer, developing the Spring Break Work Fest programs. For 10 years, they went to Kentucky to work with students doing home repair. She currently serves on as a board of director for two Mercy-sponsored universities, the University of Detroit, Mercy, and the Georgian Court. And in the Mercy Education System of Americas, she has served on the International Education System committees for 53 schools. She serves as counselor for the Sisters of Mercy Portland, Maine, and as vice president of Sisters of Mercy Northeast Community. Sister Michele has been associated with St. Joseph's College for well over 40 years, first as a student and then a member of the faculty. And so she credits the Sisters of Mercy at St. Joseph's College for nurturing her vocation and engaging her with students to demonstrate interest, care, warmth, humor, and joy. Sister Michele's teachings, interest, and deep commitment has always been in the areas of social justice, social engagement. In recent years, she's developed an approach to teaching which has an integrated personal and professional value-centered development into her courses. A strategy she believes is designed to have students realize in a profound way their personal call to lives. She both personally and professionally is grounded in this meaningful difference that she's trying to make on the world, and she hopes that all her students are doing the same. So this afternoon's call is a Christmas call, and this is going to be something that Sister will share with us. She'll talk to us a little bit about how she got to this title and what this means to her today. It is certainly very special to all of us, I believe, based on where we stand with our global community and what's happening in the world today. So without any ado, Sister, would you please proceed with your talk? And we look forward to all of you having an opportunity to exchange with Sister during this talk. There's the comment section, which many of you have already used. We will have a time at the end for questions and answers. There'll be quite a bit of dialogue, we assume, after Sister is finished with her presentation and as she guides you in this talk. Go ahead, Sister.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Welcome, everyone, near and far, friends, alums, family, colleagues. This is really a privilege and a wonderful opportunity for us to get together. And as I think about it, the reality is this: we couldn't do it all in person because of the breadth of those of us who are on the call. But having it in two dimensions is just a wonderful thing. It's awesome that technology can bring us together this way. When Joanne had asked me to do this, I was hesitant because I wasn't certain about what it would look like or whatever. So I think we can all relate to the fact that we have sleepless nights. And when I had gotten her invitation that night, I had a sleepless, restless night. When I finally woke up, I did fall asleep. I woke up, I had a title, a theme, and a framework. And so here we are. So what I would like you to note is that I am in the kitchen, in the convent that the college owns, and not doing a virtual background because our work and our life is all intermingled in one without clear boundaries one for another. And I think this is appropriate for this now time. Are you getting an echo from me?
Yes, Sister, may I ask that everyone mute your microphone, everyone except Sister, and then we will be sure probably not to have that background feedback. So let's go ahead, Sister, we'll all mute.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I want to give you an overview of what I'm going to be doing here. The presentation will be about 20 or 25 minutes, and I will use several of my images as a way of illustrating what I'm hoping to accomplish, or the points I'm trying to make. And then at the end of the session, what I will do is ask a question, give us a short period for reflection, and then invite people to participate in a conversation. Now, what I want to do as a way of setting us up before we get to that point is I want to share my screen and ask what I'm going to call a practice question. As I do that, and as we can log into that, when the time comes for the actual response, all you have to do is input your response and send without having to log on. Okay, so let me try that, and I'm going to share my screen now. Sorry, my session has expired. Oh, this is really
someone still isn't muted.
Yes, I would ask those who are on a telephone that might be driving and not using their screen to just make sure your phone is on mute. Thank you so much. If we could all be checking our mute and our microphones from time to time, sometimes we inadvertently hit it. We just want to make sure it's off. Thank you.
All right, now, okay. All right, let me get this bigger, and I'm going to do the present mode. All right, can you see this? All right, now, and you can hear me, correct?
Yes.
And you can hear me? All right. Now, this question that I'm asking, you'll note at the top of it, it's polleverywhere.com. Let me back up. There are two ways to respond. One way is to use your browser and focus on and put in pollev.com/Michele Arani 870. Or if you want, you can text to the number 37607, brand new text, and then put Michele Arani 870 in the body of the message and send it. If you use the browser, it will take you into the poll, and then it may ask you for a name. You don't have to do that. I shut that off. So in case it's not shut off, don't use it. Hit continue, and then you can just put a word in and send it. Or if you do the text, it's 37607, that one time, then Michele Arani 870. You'll get a prompt back that says, welcome to Poll Everywhere. And then after that, you can respond, okay? So I would ask you, let's just try this out right now and see if it works. And it should form a wordle. So if you see a word up there and you feel the same way, and the question is, how are you coming to this time or this meeting today? And just use one word to respond. Oh, good. Okay. Mhm. I use this program in class and students really like it because we've been a combination of remote and in person. And this is a way I am able to engage everyone.
And the words,
Excuse me?
and the words can be used more than once.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Stephanie. So, and so, okay, I think tired, happy, and curious are right there neck and neck with one another. Oh, curious. I kind of want to wait just a little bit to make sure everybody offers a word if they can. So this way you don't have to think about logging in again when it comes time to do a short reflection and then offer what seems to be surfacing. All right. How do you like this program? Kind of neat, huh? All right. I'm not seeing any action, so I'm assuming then that everyone who wanted to sign in has up. Okay. So I will, I'll just move forward from this at this point, okay? I'm going to clear the, no, I'm not going to clear the responses. I'm just going to move forward. All right. And so we're just moving right along. Okay. After our conversation, after we do the input and have conversation, then what I will do is I'll close with a blessing that I wrote for our time together. Okay. Oh, there is some more coming. Well, I certainly hope that I satisfy your curiosity. And I am excited to be here, but I have to say a little nervous, and I didn't even put nervous in there. So, all right, I'm going to move forward now. And so we begin or continue. The Christmas call. What is the Christmas call? Some might think it's a long distance call, others a local. yet others might not know or even care. What is it? It's a call that is local, one that is outside of our local area, and which is even global. It's a call to listen, to be attentive, to be present, to be engaged wherever we are and however we can be when it comes. How often do we have our phone on silence or mute so as not to be bothered? Or do we have to admit that oftentimes when we get a call, if it's not silenced, we are often in the middle of something, whether it's work or family related, and we can't, or we simply don't want to take the call? How often do we stop and take that call when it does come the first time? Or do we let it simply go into voicemail? How long after it comes do we take time and listen to the message and return the call? And because of caller ID, we know who is calling. And let's face it, if it's an unknown caller, we have to be mighty curious to even listen to the message, let alone return the call. So, what's all this about a call, and what's its connection to Christmas? Bear with me a little longer. I will get there. I promise I will. Our lives are so busy, it's hard to find time to even want to take a call, let alone make one. Then all of a sudden, this March, we became host to an overpowering presence, which has ravaged our global community, impacting our country, our family, our entire life, and our world, COVID. We're in the third world wave, and we all know too well our disastrous statistics to date, where this disease has not spared any group. It has impacted segments among us most severely: our friends, our families, our neighbors, who are people of color, who are poor, who are elderly, who are frail. Our lives, well, our lives are just full of disruptions on every level in an attempt to contain its spread, even changing how we celebrate this year. Related to safety, our concern about not infecting people we love, or perhaps being infected ourselves. I think it could be said that we are in a worldwide crucifixion, since this has been with us since the season of Lent. You will note in this sketch that there are pine tree branches, not palm tree branches, because during Lent and during Palm Sunday, there were no worship services and there were no palms. So you kind of used what we had. So palms. In light of the radical changes in how we live, many of us are home more than ordinary, and we've slowed the frenetic pace of our lives. Essentially, we've been stopped in our tracks, as the saying goes. And as a result, media has brought the outside world into our living spaces. Consequently, we have become much more attuned to the realities which face our nation. Perhaps because we are not as distracted, we now see more clearly injustices in the news, which call for an end to institutional or systemic discrimination. Some news may have caused us to think about power and authority, its use and its misuse in different ways. And perhaps it may have made us realize that we have some degree of dis-ease or anxiety during this in-between time leading up to the inauguration. Perhaps we might feel that the Easter message didn't come or came in a way that we did not expect, but it did come. The Easter embrace in this picture, we see here the embrace of Jesus in the midst of the unknown, the uncertainty that we are living through. Perhaps it came in a new way, inviting us to see with eyes and a heart that is different, to help us realize that the events we have been living through and have made us realize that we have taken our ordinary lives for granted. Perhaps inviting us to look at certain aspects of our lives which may be in need of change. Perhaps the Easter message was one which gave us a heightened awareness that control is an illusion, that our conscience has become numb to the injustices we see, that we have become complacent with what is happening in our world, and that we may have used technology in ways that have led to disconnection and isolation instead of fostering connections and deepening relationships. And perhaps it may have sparked a sense, an experience, a desire, an urge, an urgency, if not a need, to make changes in our own lives. These aspects of the Easter message are ones that we continue to live out. So, what's all this have to do with the Christmas call, you're wondering? All of this is part of that Christmas call. Since Lent, Easter, and Christmas are all meaningful, powerful manifestations in living out our faith life, regardless of our tradition and spirituality. All are part of God's call for us. God calls us where we are in the midst of trying to live our lives day in and day out, in the middle of where we find ourselves living in and through. We are people. We are Christians and Catholic Christians, and I'd like to include believers of all faith traditions and spiritualities. And as such, we realize our lives are marked by times of joy, sorrow, and uncertainty. This year, we are faced, I think, in a different, perhaps more profound way with the timeless question, how do I and how do we make sense of it all? Presently, we find ourselves in Advent, and we are preparing for Christmas. What is the Christmas call for each of us? Perhaps it's related to how we are using this time, a time like no other, to reset ourselves, to renew ourselves for the journey, and to raise questions such as, what is it we need to be in touch with in order to lead truly meaningful and intentional lives? What is really important, or put another way, what are my non-negotiables for living in a new time? To whom do we look? Or to whom or what are we drawn for light, hope, inspiration, and peace? During this time, my sense is the Christmas call is one to look at where we are. It's a threshold moment to clarify and perhaps make more real what is most important to us, that it is our relationships, and to consciously engage in connection building and reconciliations if these are needed. The Christmas call may be to use our freedom and independence as an avenue to be interdependent with others, to be signs of peace in place of discord, to become light in the midst of darkness, to be healers of division we hear about, we see, and we may experience firsthand, to be bearers of hope in despair, to be signs of welcome and acceptance in place of simple tolerance. To care, to engage and to help out where we see there is a need. To be more fully aware that we are all in this together as a human community. To make a difference professionally and personally in our troubled world. In other words, the gift God gives to us, we become the gift that God has given us. We become the gift to give to others. The Christmas call from God this year is a gift, which is one which invites us all to look at things differently, since there is very, very little that is routine or ordinary in the same in our lives and our global community. I suspect that the Christmas call is really about using these experiences for deeper grounding, to make more profoundly real that we are all part of the human community and that we need to count on one another. It may require us to do the soul-searching work necessary, which will change our hearts, minds, values, and attitudes in order to engage in God's call to us. It's a call to new and renewed beginnings, the manifestation of the Christmas call, which brings new life and new beginnings. So as I conclude this portion of our session, I'd like to ask another rhetorical question, or series of them. How many times will we continue to silence or mute that phone? When and how will we answer the call, whether it comes in the form of Zoom, Skype, Blue Jeans, text, email, the old-fashioned letter or simple telephone call, and the knock at the door from the unexpected visitor? Remember, we are always getting calls. These are indeed invitations from God, easy ones, good ones, hard ones, and at times painful ones. The key for me is really tied up with if we will answer it, when will we answer it, and how will we answer? In other words, it's our choice. After all, I repeat, the invitations continue to come. It's up to us to answer them or not. I'd like to ask you just to take a couple minutes of reflection, and then if you would, I will invite you when you're ready to indicate what are maybe 2 or 3 words that are surfacing for you as you reflect on your Christmas call.
Strange, your picture doesn't come up. Whose picture? Yours. Wow. I'm going out now. Here you are.
Wow. I am deeply moved with the sacred surfacing that has appeared on our screen. So many powerful, engaging, meaningful words. And as we see, there appears to be some really strong energy around listen, love, connection, healing, grateful, peace, as well as the other very powerful, meaningful words. I would like to invite us to engage in what is coming to mind as you see these words. What would you like to continue giving voice to or offer additional insight on any of the words, whether they were ones that you offered or offered by the community of us gathered? So I really want to invite you, your comments. And if you are via phone or you did not have your phone handy in order to reflect on this screen, please feel free to offer your input in by voice, good old-fashioned voice. So I welcome your thoughts.
Michelle?
Yes.
It's Peg D'Agostino. The word listen, I kept thinking about deep listening. We listen sometimes, but while we're listening, we're making our response in our head. And I suffer from that a lot. But the idea of just to listen deeply to what the other person is really saying is, I think, the road that we need to be on, and one that's difficult for many.
Thank you, Peg.
It's me, Maria del Mar from Argentina. And what I want to share is that no matter what we do, what we are, God and his Christmas call, he's still calling us. He wants us to respond. He wants to share the life with us and to do all these kind of things that are written here, to listen, to bless, to be a healer, to have hope, to be grateful. And he's still with us in the middle of the pandemic, and he's still with us.
Thank you, Maria Del Mar.
This is the other Michele, and I'm noticing the words that are on this the wordle. They're compassionate, grateful, peaceful, and there are some difficult words like regret and resolve and wounded, etc. And it reminds me of a quote by Catherine Macaulay, where she said, "This is our life, joys and sorrows mingled." And I think, sometimes we're on the side of the joy and the gratefulness, and other times we're on the side of the needing to be healed and needing forgiveness. And so I think all together we make up the whole. And that's kind of how it is.
Thank you. The incarnational body of Christ.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This is Robin.
Hi, Robin.
I'll go back to a quote from my mother that, we're on this earth to care for one another. And the piece about human connection, when I do the trainings I do with physicians to train them how to talk to patients about serious illness, we talk about the importance of human connection and how that can make things better when medicine can't. And I think that's powerful to remember, that we are all learning different ways to stay connected during this time, but how important it was. And I think Vi Wright got it right way back then in the late 60s when she told me that.
Nothing like a mother. Please feel free to join in. I would just like to offer a comment, building on the notion about connection and one. My father was a meat cutter, and when I was a little girl, I used to see him making sausages. And what I began to understand as he was preparing the meat and having it seasoned and so on, that what it really was it was all of this brought together and put in a casing. And so as I have thought about our connections or connectedness, it made me understand as an adult that the only thing that separates me from you and you from me in the full sense of the human community is the casing that holds us. In other words, it's just the skin that's separating us. I don't mean to say that we are all the same. What I mean to say is, in the major things of life, we are the same. And sometimes I feel when I get put up against what I perceive as injustices and so on, the perception for me is that we're not the same, and we really fundamentally are the same. That the issues that we are dealing with as a human community are human issues and human fundamental rights and dignity issues. That's kind of, but I have to say that insight about being as one and only separated by the skin that we have was watching my father making sausages in the kitchen. Again, a wonderful memory.
A word that has been speaking to me since I have seen the whole screen is the word relief. And I believe at this time we have a lot of relief. Vaccines have been discovered and hopefully will be delivered. And hopefully again will be permanently effective. And Christmas does bring such a relief, even spiritually. The Son of God came and relieved us of a sense of hopelessness. He has come and has given us hope. And so no matter how dire situations may seem, he has given us for all eternity relief from burdens. Tell them who you are. I'm Sister Mary George.
Oh, sorry, Sister Mary George. She taught me sociology.
Don't blame me, Michele.
And I taught Robin and Ray and several others that are here.
The doctor that I work with said to make sure I told you you did a very good job.
Oh, thank you. Other comments?
I'm wondering, Michele, do you have time to tell us a little bit about your beautiful artwork? How long you've been doing it, or what inspires you? Or
Well, after I finished my stint on the Northeast leadership teams as vice president, I had not taken an art course since I was in high school, and that was a very long time. And I always wanted to do it. So I took an adult ed course. And when I came home, and my first project was to draw a pepper, and it looked like it. And I brought it, and I was living with Sister Sylvia at the time, and she looked at it and she said, "We're putting it up." So we have a thing in the back, there's a picture there in back, that became our place on the refrigerator, so that every time it was like encouraging the little first grader. She taught first grade for 18 years. So every time I did something, it got put up. And then over the time, what I have done around Christmas and Easter in particular is my cards are not the typical ones you would find in a store. They are the fruit of reflection. And so I began to think through, So then the term that I use for them are soul expressions. And then I name each of them because they become friends. And I have gotten into selling cards with half the proceeds after all of the expenses go to supporting several ministries. The most and the long-standing one has been Mercy Beyond Borders with what I do with proceeds. So, and then my own personal reflection, I sketch. That's my form of journaling. So I've tried different mediums. The last one that is looking like new life and new birth, and the Easter embrace. Those in particular are on Yupo, which is a plastic, and it's all watercolor. My medium is watercolor. And the way you do it gives it different results. So one was literally pulling paint out very delicately. That was the Easter embrace, sort of having an image in my head. And the other one was manipulating paint in order so that you really don't know what it's going to be until you turn it over and you see. So there are different techniques I use.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'm conscious of our time, and I wonder, are there other questions, comments, anything that you would like to offer before I begin to offer our closing blessing, whether it's related to this or anything else, this question or anything else?
Michele, I just wanted to comment on one of your phrases when you talked about the knock at the door of an unexpected visitor. That struck me because in today's world, to have an unexpected visitor at one's door doesn't happen very often. And usually the feelings about it can be in the fear range, like, who could that be? What do they want? Type of thing.
Right.
And so to have that as part of the Christmas call imagery, I thank you, because it stretches me.
Thank you.
And sister, I'll echo that, is that
Ray.
is that I think we've all shrunk in our bubbles to immediate, a lot of immediate family and friends, and to look on the screen and to hear your voice and Robin's voice, and to think of some people who, are way outside that bubble after a few years. It makes your heart pound a little different. It makes your, I think, blood flow a little bit quicker. So I think as we look at the call and we think of all the people who are so valuable within our bubbles, it's amazing the feeling when you think of some people that have fallen out of reach after years, and the feeling that it could bring you compared to other years.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you.
Michele, this is Anne Marie, and I only got the opportunity to join about 20 minutes ago. So, but as I joined, all the words were being formed on the screen, and it was wonderful watching it all emerge. But thank you for making this being available, and that word availability is on the screen. And I'm just thinking, in this pandemic time, the gift that the pandemic has given many of us is a different kind of an availability, because it goes into that deeper desire to be connected, and just wanting to connect with folks. So thanks for the opportunity and the availability of yourself to organize this for us.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Anne Marie. That's Joanne Bean. She is our person, and it was with hesitancy, but then the flash came about this. Thank you. Other comments?
Sister, I just wanted to comment, just knowing that St. Joseph's College and our work with the Institute for Integrative Aging and the older folks who are engaged in a lot of different programs on campus that are now all remote or are being held in quiet little bubbles, as Ray said. And Ray's comments made me think about all of us on this call thinking about who we should be physically calling to check in on them. So how will you respond to the call, but then how will you yourself make the call? And I ask everyone to consider that wherever you are in this world, and whoever you know that might not be as connected as you are, or not have people to talk to, reach out and say hello. I'm sure they'll really, really appreciate it. Thank you, sister.
Thank you. Anything else?
I'll just say really quickly, thank you, Sister Michele, for inviting me. This is just such a little, just blessing in the middle of the day. And I feel so hopeful after looking at all these words, because these are deep words and reflective words. And there's just so much work in this. There's such a birthing in this Christmas call this year, more than ever, it seems. We are so forced to go down deep and really reflect. And these words just show we're all doing that. And there's so much of that happening right now. And that gives me hope that there is invitation and there is so much new life that is going to come out of this. I just love seeing them all on the screen. It's just beautiful. I love that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine. All right. Well, I will move us into my blessing for each of us then. Oh, come on. All of a sudden it's acting out. So I guess if I can't show it, I just may have to read it. No, it doesn't want to. Well, I will read you my blessing. And in fact, maybe I'll just stop the screen share so I can see everyone. Okay. Oh, so good to see everyone now. May you be filled this Christmas season with deep blessings of hope and joy in the midst of anxiety, uncertainty, and insecurity. May you be strengthened by your family, friends, and faith, recognizing these are expressions of God's loving care for you. May you be blessed with generous hearts, grounded in the belief that we are one human community and we are in this together. May you welcome those who are in need of your time and talent, and may you never forget your Christmas call and that you are the gift, a call and a gift like no other. And may you and those you love have a blessed and wonderful Christmas and a happy and healthy new year. Amen. I cannot thank you enough for your time and your engagement. It's been truly a blessing for me. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sister Michele, and thank you everyone for
Thank you so much.
participating. We're going to have the Front Row with the Faculty series in 2021. Again, they'll be held the second and fourth Wednesday of every month at 4 o'clock. And there is going to be a schedule that will be published, we hope by the end of next week, if not certainly before Christmas. And all of you registering, of course, will receive that schedule. But sister, I can't thank you enough. It's been such a delight to work with you on this. I've learned so much. I've learned about you and your journey in life. And it's been very, very much a blessing to get to know you a little bit more. And thank you, everyone, for your time and being with us. St. Joseph's College really appreciates your engagement. Thank you.